I'd like to reconvene the regular meeting of the City Council Public Financing Authority and call to order the special meeting of the Housing Authority. Roll call, please. City Clerk.
Councilman Twining,
Here.
Councilman Kennedy,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem McKeon,
Here.
Mayor Burns,
Here.
Councilwoman Vandermark,
Here.
Councilman Gruhl,
Here.
Councilman Williams.
Here.
All present.
All right. Tonight's invocation will be given by Huntington Fire and Police Chaplain Roger Wing. Please stand.
Would you please join me in prayer as we ask the Lord's blessing on this evening's meeting? In James 5, you tell us that if any of you lack wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault. Now that's great counsel for all of us, and we especially ask you, Lord, to give wisdom and direct the paths of our city council this evening as they deal with the issues on the agenda. May you impart your wisdom and discernment to each member as they discuss the issues and make decisions. We pray that you would give them guidance to be able to make the best decisions possible for our city. Lord, we pray for all those who will be providing their input and sharing their views at the podium this evening. Help them and guide them to share with clarity, dignity, and respect. We thank you for bringing them here this evening to assure that our council has the benefit of the community's views and thoughts. We ask your blessing, Lord, on each of our council members, our city manager, attorney, treasurer, clerk, police and fire chiefs, department heads, and all of our faithful and committed city employees who work so diligently in support of our city and our city council. We pray for health and safety for them personally and for their families. We also pray for all of our Huntington Beach first responders. May you keep them safe and give them your wisdom on every call. And as we enter the holiday season, we ask that you would provide us with your peace and joy that we might enjoy the season as you intended and desired us to do. And let us never forget what and who we're celebrating during these upcoming holidays. Bless our meeting this evening, and may your peace and wisdom guide all that occurs tonight. And we ask this in your name, Lord. Amen.
Tonight's Pledge of Allegiance is going to be led by U.S. Navy Commander Joseph T. Gilligan. Thank you, sir.
Hand over heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
City Attorney, do you have anything to report from closed session?
I do tonight, Mayor. Thank you. So 3 matters. The City Council unanimously voted to appeal the Alonzia versus City of Huntington Beach, case number 30-2025-014-62835 CUWM-CJC. Also unanimously, Council provided direction to initiate litigation in 2 potential cases. Particulars will be disclosed upon request once and if action is commenced. That's all I have, Mayor. Thanks.
All right.
Real quick, City Attorney, on the first one, can you mention that's pro bono?
Yeah, we do have outside counsel working on the Alonzia case, and they are doing it pro bono, meaning no cost to the city.
All right, thank you. Any council members like to make a comment? Butch usually has a lot to say. Anybody? All right, I'm just recognizing Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Respect that. We had a good golf ball tournament yesterday. It was very successful, and everything's good in the city, I think. Oh, yeah, Butch, you got anything to announce on that one?
Yes, I just want to say that I beat Pat Burns' team.
Yeah. All right.
How?
Yeah, with the clubs. All right, anything else? All right. City Clerk, do we have any supplemental communications?
Yes, Mayor, we have two supplemental communications for the consent calendar. Item number 9, 25-8031 email, and item number 12, 25-8 304 emails.
Okay, City Clerk, do we have anyone signed up to speak?
We have 13 speakers signed up this evening.
All right. I'll read the disclosure. Proper decorum at a city council meetings is imperative in order for the public to remain informed about issues pertaining to the city's business. Public comments portion of the meeting is an opportunity for the public to be heard and address those issues in a public forum. Disruptive behavior, impeding or delaying our ability to conduct the council's business will not be tolerated. California Penal Code Section 403 prohibits disrupting this meeting, and enforcement action will be taken for violations of this law. At this time, City Council will receive comments from members of the public regarding any topic, including items on the open session agenda. Individuals wishing to provide comment on items may do so in person by filling out a request to speak form delivered to the city clerk. All speakers are encouraged but not required to identify themselves by names. Please note that the Brown Act does not allow discussion or action on topics that are not on the agenda. Members of the public who would like to speak directly with a council member on an item not on the agenda may consider scheduling an appointment by contacting the City Council's administrative assistant at 714-536-5553 or emailing the entire City Council at city.council@surfcity-hb.org. Okay, City Clerk, call 13 speakers, please. And we will be given 2 minutes. Yeah, don't make me regret it, please.
When your name is called, please come down to the podium. Please use both podiums. Love, Mr. Amory Hanson, Pat Goodman, Charlie Jackson, Rosalind Price, Ken Inouye, Tim Geddes, Donald Eugene, Rick Brown, Russ Neal, Paula Schaefer, Jennifer Thomas, Libby, and Justine Minkoff.
Start? Oh, okay. Greetings, Mayor Pat Burns and all the council and city staff. Love what you do what you love. My name is Love, and I'm involved in a lot of charities here in Huntington Beach. The one that I'm promoting right now is the Miss Huntington Beach Scholarship Pageant, and that is being held this Saturday, October 25th, 2 p.m. at the Huntington Beach Central Library Theater. Everyone is invited, everybody, and I know Mayor Burns will be there. We're so excited to have him. We have 7 candidates for the crown, and our esteemed local icon, Matt Liffring, will be our master of ceremonies. We will also have a silent auction, live music at the reception that follows the event, and it's going to be a really nice occasion. If you can go to misshuntingtonbeach.org, you can get your $35 tickets, and even if you can't attend, your donation goes towards the scholarship fund. By the way, I don't know how many of you know, but there's a rose garden outside the doors here, right behind the 9/11 memorial. That is something that the Sand Dollars, the Huntington Beach Sand Dollars, of which I'm president, we take care of that, and we have been planting roses for the last 60 years in honor of our last 60 queens. Although the pageant started about, 121 years ago, 4th of July in honor of Henry Huntington. We have been taking care of these roses, and we have Andrea Roberson has been kind of tasked with maintaining them, and she's been here a lot. I've probably seen her dancing around the roses. So anyway, all these dollars go to help fund the young women that are furthering their education. It is a scholarship program. It's not a beauty pageant. So I hope you'll come, and we'll see you there.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My name is Mr. Amory Hanson. I'm speaking tonight in support of item 11, the Mayor and Councilman Twining's ordinance to limit the sale of nitrous oxide. This ordinance will ensure that those who intend to use nitrous oxide for nefarious purposes are unable to do so, while ensuring accountability for legitimate purposes. Purchases. Let's ensure fair and accountable purchasing of nitrous oxide. Once again, I urge a yes vote on item 11. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Rosalind Price. Good evening, Mayor Pat Burns, Mayor Pro Tem Casey McKeenan, Council Members Gracie, Andrew, Don, Butch, and Chad. First, I'd like to thank the Council for recognizing the 250th birthday of the United States Navy this evening. The presentation is going to be just amazing. I can already imagine. As someone who not only supports our military but shows it through action, I proudly serve as part of the Soldier Family Readiness Group in the United Army National Guards for the FRG as the 240th Signal Company and the 250th EMIB. They both proudly protect our coastal line. It's an honor to stand alongside our soldiers and their families, providing encouragement and assistance as they serve. The same spirit of service extends into my community work here in Huntington Beach through my nonprofit Bug Angels, where we focus on helping the homeless and hopeless seniors and veterans alike, bringing guidance and comfort, resources to those who need it, and supporting our soldiers and strengthening our community truly go hand in hand. I also want to express my full support for the approval of the introduction of the ordinance number 4342, prohibiting the sale of and distribution of nitrous oxide. This ordinance is a vital step toward protecting our youth, reducing the devastating impact of the substance misuse that affects far too many families in our city. I'm grateful that the council is choosing to take action and lead with both compassion and common sense to safeguard the health and well-being of our families and our residents. Through collaboration between our city leadership, law enforcement, community organizations, we can continue to keep Huntington Beach safe, strong, and united. Together, we can ensure that Surf City, USA remains not only a beautiful coastal city, but also a place where families, veterans, and future generations can live and thrive and hope. Thank you, Mayor, Councilman, for your time and leadership, and all the residents here that are going to speak. I appreciate your dedication for preserving the heart of our community for the city of Huntington Beach.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Justine Makoff with Free Reign Foundation at the Huntington Central Park Equestrian Center. And I am excited to let you know that we are in a documentary called Rescued Hearts. It's a small piece, but a very important piece. And it's going to be showing at the Lido Theater. Pat, I know I'm going to get this right this time. It's November 4th. November 4th at 6 p.m. at Lido Theater. If you would like to attend, I would love to have you, of course. And anybody else who would like to get tickets, of course, we'd love to see you there as well to support a local nonprofit, Free Reign Foundation. You can go to our website at freerainfoundation.org and look under events for information, tickets. You'll also find a lot of other things that we have going on, especially our hug and groom that we have the first Sunday of every month. So come support us, come see us on the big screen, and thank you for your time. I'll leave flyers out at the front, so if anybody wants to scan the QR code or take a flyer. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
I am Antifa, meaning anti-fascist. I am woke, meaning to be informed, educated, and aware of social injustice. These are both American values that we all should have. To be American is to be Antifa. Freedom means fighting fascism. The founding fathers of this country were Antifa since they were fighting against a tyrant of a king. Trump is trying to make his followers wage a war against these American beliefs to cause an American divide so that we hate each other. So that makes Trump and his followers U.S. domestic terrorists, ignoring the U.S. Constitution which this country was founded on. It is time for Trump's followers to wake up, reject this MAGA cult that is brainwashing people so that Trump can be a dictator and control the hate that is destroying the American way of life.
Good evening, Tim Geddes in the House. I'd like to start off by, again, protesting the fact that Mayor Burns is just shredding our norms in public comments. We should, by having less than 20 people, we should easily have 3 minutes each. It says so right on the agenda, but arbitrary and capricious is the way he rolls. So
Thank you.
I'm disgusted that he's giving us 2 minutes. Whoa. I also would like to express my support, yes on 50. That is going to pass, whether you like it or not, and we'll see what happens about that. Now, this past Saturday, I attended the No Kings rally here. One good-sized crowd was part of a nationwide protest that drew over 7 million participants of all political persuasions. It showed public resistance to the MAGA brand of authoritarianism is strong and getting stronger. In our city, the community resistance to our MAGA city council is also growing stronger. Perhaps we need a No Jacks protest to express our displeasure. Already, community-oriented council candidates like Taryn Palumbo and Ben Davis are emerging to provide true representation for our citizenry. You can run, but you can't hide, MAGAs. However, if you work at turning things around, arbit mach free. Right, Gracie? Thank you.
Hi. Chad said suppression through fear has no place in America. I agree. Assassinations have no place in America. But today, fear is being used to suppress people's right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The right to free speech, the right to a speedy trial, the right to due process, the right to habeas corpus are all being denied. Suppression through fear has no place in America. ICE is an abbreviation for Immigration and Customs Enforcement. There was once a state secret police, which is abbreviated as Gestapo. In 20 years, for future generations around the world, people will remember ICE agents in just the same way. Suppression through fear has no place in America. I smelled the smoke in the air after the Rodney King riots. I lived that close. I saw the aftermath of the Watts riots. Everyone knows that there is no civil disorder right now. Everyone knows that we do not need Marines in any of our cities right now. Many people in this room have pledged to defend the Constitution. Let's remember what Lincoln said. Let us have faith that right makes might, and in that faith, let us, to the end, dare to do our duty as we understand it. Thank you.
Good evening. I am in full support of item 12 and hope that there will be a unanimous vote to invite the OC Registrar of Voters, Bob Page, to make a presentation to the Council on voting security in Orange County. The sooner, the better. Additionally, I hope this item will include time for council members to address questions to the registrar to be sure all of your concerns are answered. None of the elected council members have ever questioned whether they were elected legitimately, yet they consistently sow doubt about other elections. At the last meeting, without a prior agenda item to schedule it, we listened to a volunteer, we never did get her name, read hand-picked data points and tell us multiple times about these kinds of things that are then extrapolated to come up with astonishing numbers, implying that our elections are not secure and that illegitimate votes are canceling out our legitimate votes. There were no experts here to clarify why these kinds of things were or were not areas we should truly be concerned about. My thinking is that if no experts were willing to speak publicly and put their name on the line, it's probably not really the conspiracy that was implied. Registrar Bob Page is willing to put his name on the line to explain exactly what procedures are used to safeguard our elections in Orange County. After touring the registrar's office and learning about many of the security features that are in place, I am very confident in our elections, even the ones that elect people I disagree with. I am hopeful that after you and the public hear from our registrar, you will be confident in our elections too. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Burns and City Council. 5 Huntington Beach citizens and I will now read the October 15th Voice of OC op-ed written by Ocean View School Board trustee Gina Clayton Tarvin, entitled, Huntington Beach Leaders Are Abusing Their Power and Silencing the Public. Mayor Burns' repeated heckling and silencing of residents at City Council meetings undermines the U.S. Constitution, which he is sworn to defend. Huntington Beach deserves leaders who listen and not bully. In Huntington Beach, we often boast of being Surf City, a community known for its independence, civic engagement, and hometown pride. But lately, that proud legacy has been overshadowed by something deeply troubling: the erosion of civility and the abuse of power from the city's own leadership.
Good evening, council members and the mayor, Paula Schaefer. Continuing, a city council that punishes speech. Mayor Pat Burns, a former police officer who now presides over the council meetings, has repeatedly cut off public speakers in mid-sentence, arbitrarily reduces speaking time, and has heckled residents who dare to criticize his policies. These are not isolated moments of impatience. They represent a troubling pattern of behavior that chills public participation and undermines the democratic process. It is not just the heckling or the name-calling, as disturbing as that is. It's the message that it sends, that only voices in agreement with the city council majority will be treated with respect. When an elected official uses the power of the gavel to silence or humiliate constituents, it sends a chilling signal to others that speaking up comes with personal risk.
Ironically, many of these same officials wrap themselves in the rhetoric of free speech, declaring themselves defenders of the First Amendment when it suits their agenda. But true commitment to free expression means defending it, even and especially for those with whom you disagree. We cannot claim to value freedom of speech while mocking or muzzling residents who exercise it. The First Amendment is not partisan property. It belongs equally to conservatives, progressives, and independents alike. And when those in power abuse the rules of a public meeting to silence critics, they betray not only their oath of office, but the very principles our democracy depends on.
Public service requires humility, not hubris. Those who hold public office, whether on a city council or a school board, are servants of the people. They are entrusted with the responsibility to represent all voices in our community, not just the ones that praise you. That means creating an environment where the public can safely and respectfully share their views, even when those views make you uncomfortable. Sadly, that trust has now eroded in Huntington Beach and City Hall. Residents who once felt proud to speak at city council meetings now describe fear, disgust, and humiliation. Instead of focusing on solving the city's real problems like public safety, environmental protection, and quality of life, too many meetings have devolved into performances of partisanship and personal attacks.
Good evening, council members and Mayor Burns. This is bigger than politics. This is not a partisan issue, it's an ethical one. Every elected official, regardless of ideology, should be outraged by the abuse of power on display. Whether you're a Democrat, Republican, or independent, the basic right to address your government without harassment is sacred. It is the bedrock of our local democracy. When leaders use mockery as a weapon or silence as a shield, they corrode public trust. And once that trust is gone, it's not easily rebuilt. Huntington Beach residents deserve better. Leaders who listen, not lecture, who debate policy, not demean people.
Council and Mayor, a call for decency and accountability. Mayor Burns and his allies on the City Council must be reminded the microphone belongs to the people, not the politicians. The dais is not a stage for self-congratulation, nor a platform for retaliation. It is a place of public service, a place where civility, fairness, and transparency should be non-negotiable. Democracy cannot survive when only the loudest and the most powerful voices are heard. Huntington Beach should once again be a model for civic engagement, not only if we restore respect to the public square and hold accountable those who have forgotten that their power comes from the people.
Good evening.
I encourage everybody to vote yes on Proposition 50. Our democracy depends on it. I also encourage the people on the dais here to vote yes on number 12 on the agenda. Butch, I get to talk to you again. You wrote, "We'll never get rid of voter fraud until we get rid of mail-in ballots." I'm not sure what you guys have in mind with your voter ID and trying to maybe outlaw mail-in ballots, but you couldn't be farther from the truth. So I'm extending an invitation to all 7 of you, actually 9, also our city attorney, our city treasurer, and city clerk, 10. To take a tour of the Orange County Registrar of Voters with Protect HB and see how completely safe and secure our mail-in ballots are. Not 1, not 2, but 3 measures that are taken to make sure the mail-in ballots are not fraud. Casey, you wanted the opposition to reach out to you, and this is our opportunity to do that. So not only would we love to have Bob Page from the Registrar of Voters, but also for you to take a tour with us. The invitation will be forthcoming. We haven't decided on a date yet. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Russell Neal, and I live in Huntington Beach. No one should be surprised at the adverse appeals court ruling over our housing element. California judges are Democrats first and judges second, and will always rule for party over law when politics so dictate. I recommend the City Council submit a compliant housing element update under protest, and that the council members refuse to sign the statement of overriding considerations on First Amendment grounds. They will punish us for this, but we will then have a clean and clear First Amendment case for the federal courts. You are fighting the good fight, and you have our support. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and honorable members of the City Council. My name is Kenny Noe. I've lived in Huntington Beach over 50 years. This time I want to thank our City Treasurer, Jason Schmidt, our City Attorney, Mike Vilota, and City Manager, Travis Hopkins, for holding their series of community meetings wherein residents of Huntington Beach are able to express their opinions and ask questions. At the conclusion of the meeting that I attended, I was able to give them a list which included the following questions. Given the projected deficit in the operating fund, what measures are being taken to reduce and eliminate the projected deficits? I also requested an updated report on the status of the proposed repair and replacement of our aging infrastructure, with an emphasis on the impact of these projects on public safety, and also how these projects will be funded. I look forward to hearing the response to my questions at the earliest possible date, since they impact the financial health of Huntington Beach and the public safety of all residents in the city. Thank you.
Are there any other speakers? Doesn't appear so. Council committee appointment announcements.
I have a committee appointment to Finance Commission, Dave Chenault.
All right. Anybody else? All right. AB 1234 reporting. Does anybody have anything to report? Seeing none. Any openness and negotiation disclosures? Anybody got anything to disclose? All right, moving on. City Manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. Our City Treasurer, Jason Schmidt, has a update on a financial literacy class.
First of all, I wanted to thank all of our city residents, including a few who spoke tonight, who braved the rain last week to learn more about the city treasurer and the city attorney's office and bring connections. We really appreciate the feedback you provided on the potential ways we can improve our services and the lives of our city's residents. For those of you who weren't able to attend last week, we'll be having 4 more of these chats across the city over the next 2 weeks, so we hope everyone will come out for at least one of them. In addition, we'll be launching next month on our website an online survey so that residents can provide incremental feedback on how we can further improve our services. Along with prudent investing and transparency, the other commitment I made was that our office would work continuously to help our residents save more to live better. I spent my childhood watching my family struggle to balance a budget, and I know that personal finances can be complicated and intimidating for many of us. In that spirit, we're extremely excited tonight to announce our city's partnership with United Way's Spark Point program to offer 5 free classes this winter for the community focused on how to improve your personal finances. The classes will cover a range of practical topics like setting realistic financial goals, tracking your money, creating a budget and sticking to it, building up a rainy day fund for emergencies, improving your credit score, and choosing the right banking services and products. In addition, the Fair Housing Foundation will be offering free one-on-one financial counseling to class participants. Classes will begin on Wednesday, November 12th at 5:30 at Central Library and be offered monthly in November, January, February, March, and April. Sign up for these classes is now live, so please register to confirm your seat. I wanted to extend a special thank you to Ashley and her team at Community Services, who moved heaven and earth to find space in November so we could start these classes quickly, and also to Councilmember Gracie Vandermark, who's tirelessly advocated for trying to improve the financial health of our residents, having personally experienced the challenges posed by financial strain. Thank you.
Hey, Jason, is this a progressive-like lesson, or are they repeated classes?
Oh, it's a progressive. So you'll see back there, there's 5 workshop topics.
Okay.
So in each of the sessions, we'll do it. But the expectation is if you sign up, we really want you to sign up for all 5 because they're each going to cover different subject matter. So there'll be, for instance, one on banking, one on budgeting, et cetera, et cetera.
Awesome.
That's
Thank
the
you.
structure.
I just want to thank you, Jason, for taking the initiative. Before you were appointed, you said you had a lot of ideas for the city, this being one of them. So you're bringing fresh set of eyes, fresh set of ideas, so thank you so much. And I know many kids would benefit from something like this, but also many adults who did not take classes like this back in school. They weren't offered to many of us, so thank you for bringing this forward and giving anybody actually the opportunity who wants to take advantage of this.
And one of the things that we're going to try to do, so Jessica in the Public Affairs Department suggested this, and we're checking with United Way to see, given the proprietary nature of what they're doing, of whether we can offer a Zoom version of this class for folks who can't make it on time, or whether we can have a recorded version so people can watch after the fact. But we still got to work with United Way on that.
So are you looking to try to get these on Zoom or maybe starting a new series on
We'll
Zoom?
try to get these on Zoom, and we've got a
Okay.
couple more weeks to work through this with United Way. And the biggest issue is they're the ones who are teaching it, and it's their proprietary content, so we don't want to, we
Okay.
don't want to have a trademark issue with them around the
Okay.
content.
All right, thank you.
Of course.
Trav?
Chow Vu will give a report on some of our infrastructure. And I just note that this is one of the H items brought forward by the council this past 6 months to have updates on projects that are completed within the city. So thank you.
Thank you, City Manager. Chow Vu, Director of Public Works. We wanted to give you an update on CIPs that have been completed so far, and this is at least a threshold of $500,000 that was requested by council. First up, we have Zone 2 overlay. Next slide. So you'll see Zone 2 is a salmon color area in the picture in the corner pocket there. This project rehabilitated the pavement for over 100 of the worst residential street segments in Zone 2, which is the second residential zone in our 12 zones that we have pursued within the city. Zone 2 is bound by Warner Avenue to the north, Beach Boulevard to the east, Ellis Avenue to the south, and Springdale to the west. Work included limited localized pavement repairs, crack sealing, cold milling, striping, and an asphalt overlay. Next slide. So project benefits and schedule. The overlay project extends the life of several streets and provides new asphalt surface for the next 12-plus years until the street is re-evaluated for repairs. The city's local street system is divided into 12 zones, like I mentioned, and streets are scheduled based on selection of overlay or slurry treatment based on the existing pavement condition, and we call this the PCI rating, the Pavement Condition Index. Next slide. Our funding source is a variety of funds within our city, infrastructure funds, Measure M, gas tax, water and sewer. And this project was successful because there were no change orders in this project, and all the bid items were all covered within the scope of work. Next slide, Shannon. So here you have some photos of the project. This is a critical investment in the city's local street infrastructure, and it has successfully achieved its intended objective to extend the life of the paved street. It was delivered with minimal disruption to the adjacent school, trash, and delivery schedules. And this was acceptable within the budget margins. We had excellent contractor collaboration as well. This project will provide lasting benefits to community and serves as a model for future CIP paving efforts. Next slide, we'll go on to the next project we have for you, 17th Street Arterial Rehabilitation. Next slide. 17th Street was the street that was selected, and it goes from Main Street to Palm, and it was chosen per our pavement management plan, which listed this segment with the minimum PCI rating of 42 on a scale of 0 to 100, 100 being the best condition. A PCI rating of 42 reflects that the pavement is in poor condition. The street improvements included installation of asphalt concrete pavement, traffic loops, updated signs and striping, limited replacement of concrete curbs, gutters, sidewalks, access ramps, and tree replacement. This project is unique because it uses rubberized asphalt concrete, which contains crumb rubber derived from 100% California waste tire rubber. This also reduces tire noise and provides a skid-resistant surface. A 2-inch layer of rack includes over 2,000 waste tires per lane mile. This project diverted approximately 5,000 waste tires that would have otherwise ended up in a landfill. Next slide. The rehabilitated asphalt surface, repaired sidewalks, new curb ramps, and planted trees reinforces the department's commitment to beautification, accessibility, and enhanced mobility. The upgrades to traffic signage and striping will benefit all the residents and commuters by way of bicycle on this segment and also by pedestrians with enhanced crosswalk visibility, wide bike lanes. We added a traffic buffer zone, and we painted green high visibility patterns in vehicle-bicycle conflict points. These improvements are especially important for students of the 3 nearby schools, Huntington Beach High School, Dwyer Middle School, and Smith Elementary. Next slide. So in this project, we had 2 change orders totaling $8,000 for signing and striping. We also modified the curb painting and signage in front of Worthy Park at our request. So the change orders were at the request of staff. The second change order was signing and striping, so we added a yellow ladder crosswalk at 17th and Main to increase pedestrian safety. So here you'll see before and after photos. This was a good project. There was strong collaboration with the contractor to minimize disruption to the schools and services within the area. We delivered the project on time and within budget. This project will last at least 20 years. Next slide. So here we have for you 2 traffic signal improvement projects. These 2 improvement projects were bid out as one project so that we can use economies of scale. They're also similar in scope. So the intersection of Warner and Ash and the intersection of Main and Delaware were both identified for installation of protected left turn arrows. The scope of work included removal of existing and installing new traffic signal poles, foundation, electrical conduit, pole boxes, constructing ADA-compliant ramps and sidewalk improvements, and new signing and striping. Next slide. The newly installed protected left turn phasing was basically green arrows that let vehicles turn left without conflicting traffic at these two intersections improves safety at both locations, limiting conflicts with vehicles turning left and through traffic, as well as crossing pedestrians. Next slide. There was one change order on this project, $21,600, and that was at the request of staff because we added quantities for various contract items such as replacement of concrete curbs, gutter, sidewalk, and pavement. There is a balance remaining as well. Next slide. In conclusion, this project has a service life of 40 years. It has improved traffic flow, utility service reliability, reduced emergency repairs and maintenance calls with the new improvements, enhanced safety, and ADA compliance. So there you'll see the before and after pictures with the intersections, one with the protective permissive signal, and then the other on the right was a fully protected green arrow. That concludes my report. I'll answer any questions.
Anybody have questions? Don?
No questions. I want to say thank you, Chow. I'm really, as Casey, we were just kind of joking over, it's like he said, you're like watching your kid grow up. I'm really proud of what you guys did. We brought this initiative forward, the council, with a 7-0, to show the residents not what's going on with your tax dollars, but what's going on with our tax dollars. We live here too, and our belief is the more the residents know how and why their public works or their city is working for them and show actual benefits, the better they can feel about their city and their tax dollars and the watching and the fiscal realities of how they're spent. So when we brought this to Chow and Public Works, it was basically designed to bring some transparency to something that should be transparent and was not transparent for no other reason other than they weren't asked to bring this forward. They've always had good accomplishments, but now at a cutoff of $500,000 or more on a contract, they're going to bring it forward and show us, tell us why they did it, how it went, how did they achieve their budget target, and those types of things should build confidence with the residents that we have a city staff that's going to work hard for not just your tax dollars, but our tax dollars. So I really am thankful and proud of the presentation, Chow. Chow's been very responsive and great work. Thank you.
Gracie.
Just want to thank you for the present. I can't see you, Butch is in my way. So thank you for the presentation, and also to thank you and staff for taking us out on that tour of the capital improvement projects. That was very impressive. We were down 17th Street, and just to see how nice that street looks, I kind of wish we had enough money and resources to do that throughout the whole city, and what was it, Admiralty Bridge as well, and to understand some of the challenges and the setbacks. So thank you for all that information and for bringing this forward so that the residents can see as well. And I think, who was on there with me? Were you on that tour with me too?
Yeah.
And Pat. Okay. Thank you.
Case.
No, just to expand on what Don said. I just want to, thank him for initiating this. I think it was a couple months ago, but this is just good governance. I'm sure you guys have seen some of the commenters come up and complain to us, like, why don't you focus on the normal functions of a city and paving roads and fixing potholes? And I always say we do those things every meeting. You guys just either don't stay to watch it or you don't see it on the agenda. So something like this is great where you see the project, you see the before, you see the after, and more importantly, you see on those slides, it's on time and under budget. So it's really good to see, like Don said, like your tax dollars at work. These are the gears and the functions of the city. And so I really love this platform where, you know, we vote on these capital improvement projects. You guys see us pass it, and then when it comes to fruition, it comes to completion, you can see the end results and see that, again, that it was on time and under budget. And that's just good governance. So thank you, Chow, for doing that.
Butch.
Thank you, Chow, and thank you for the tour a couple weeks ago. One project I would have loved to have seen up there was the one on Heil, the pump station. Was that on there?
It's not done yet.
Oh, but it was so
why.
beautiful while it was being constructed. It's a big project. Hope we get to see that one next report. Thank you.
All right. Now, in honor of the Navy's 250th birthday, we have a presentation by Commander Gilligan and his staff.
Good evening, Mayor Burns, esteemed council, and city leadership, and citizens of Huntington Beach. My name is Commander Gilligan. I'm the commanding officer of Navy Talent Acquisition Group Southwest. We're responsible for recruiting operations across Southern California, to include right here in Orange County. Mayor Burns was gracious enough to afford me the opportunity to speak at tonight's meeting and to celebrate our nation's Navy's 250th birthday, which was last Tuesday. Council, this public celebration is important because it is an ode to our collective heritage as U.S. citizens, and heritage helps remind us of our roots. This concept is fitting. My roots are in Huntington Beach. My parents met at Elmira in Huntington, just down the street. That was our first home. My dad taught me to play basketball at Edison High School. I then went on to the Naval Academy and then traveled the world. My colleagues, Master Chief John Lanza and Lieutenant Jordan Augusta, are both local products who have done quite the same. So in celebrating 250 years of our Navy, let's remember that it isn't just about ships, planes, and bases. It's about people and places. Places like this, Huntington Beach, where the ocean meets community, where local values meet national service.
Philadelphia, 1775, 250 years ago. A new nation was born, and with it, a navy. A navy forged in the fight for independence, built from a handful of ships and the determination of a people who refused to be denied their freedom. From John Paul Jones' defiant words, "I have not yet begun to fight," to David Farragut's legendary command, "Damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead," our sailors have met every challenge with courage and resolve. At Midway, they turned the tide of a world war. At Leyte Gulf, they fought the largest naval battle in history. In the waters off Korea, Vietnam, the Persian Gulf, and beyond, our Navy has carried America's resolve to every sea. Through those battles that shaped the course of history, the United States Navy has stood watch. We've sailed to the farthest corners of the globe, defended liberty in times of peace and war, and written our story in courage, sacrifice, and victory. Today, the Navy remains the shield of our nation, the foundry where sailors are forged, the fleet that stands ready on every horizon, and the fight, our promise that if challenged, America will win. From wooden sailing ships to nuclear-powered carriers, from signal flags to satellites, from cannon fire to precision weapons. For 2.5 centuries, we've led the way in innovation, transforming the seas into a domain of unmatched power. We are the world's most advanced, most lethal, and most ready maritime force, a global navy that deters aggression, protects trade, strengthens alliances, and brings relief in times of crisis. But at the heart of it all are the sailors, men and women from every walk of life who proudly wear the cloth of our nation. Sailors who stand the watch tonight, just as others have since 1775, ensuring that America's promise endures. 250 years of honor, courage, and commitment. 250 years of foundry, fleet, and fight. And we're just getting started. Happy 250th birthday, United States Navy.
All right, good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is Lieutenant Jordan Augusta. I'm a Service Warfare Officer and Officer Recruiter with Navy Talent Acquisition Group Southwest. And I was raised here in Orange County. I am proud to call this community my home. My family and this great community played a vital role in helping me become the person and the officer I am today. I graduated from the U.S. Naval Academy and commissioned as a naval officer in 2020 and went to complete two tours on USS Gridley in Everett, Washington. Tonight, I stand before you on behalf of the United States Navy, and as we truly celebrate this historic milestone, our 250th birthday. For 2.5 centuries, the U.S. Navy has defended our nation, safeguarded freedom of the seas, and supported global stability and humanitarian missions across the world. We reflect with pride on a legacy on service, sacrifice, and unwavering commitment to the values that define both our Navy and our community. With the support of our communities, we are better equipped to continue the Navy's mission of maintaining freedom of the seas, deterring aggression, and projecting power in the defense of our nation and our allies. That community support from cities like Huntington Beach is essential. Whether through partnerships with schools, participation in local events, or simply recognizing and appreciating our service members and their families on a day-to-day basis, your involvement truly strengthens our Navy. Your engagement helps us inspire the next generation of sailors and continues building a Navy worthy of our nation. On behalf of the men and women of the Navy, thank you for recognizing this milestone and supporting those who serve. Thank you for honoring our service and for standing with us as we chart a course for the next 250 years. Happy birthday.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, and all the residents. My name is John Lanza. I'm the Command Master Chief of NTAC Southwest. I've been in the Navy. This December will be 30 years. I'm from Whittier, California, but I spent a lot of time in Orange County. Two of my aunts and all my cousins lived in Yorba Linda and Placentia. And Huntington Beach was the beach that my family went to because my mom did not like to drive on the freeway. So Whittier Boulevard to Beach Boulevard, and every time we come down here, you could just smell the beach, and we knew it was going to be a great day. So it is an honor to be here and be able to talk to you today. I do want to tell one sea story because a large part of my Navy career has been on the West Coast on ships, and our ships are go to the Naval Weapons Station at Seal Beach to reload and disarm. And so every time, before and after every deployment, we got an opportunity to visit, and you can either go north or you go south. And the smart sailors came south to Huntington Beach and spent our nights and enjoying time downtown, and it was great. I will tell you that it is top-notch, and I've been to many, many ports and many, many waterfronts, but your waterfront is world-class. I do want to talk about what my CO and lieutenant talked about, and it's really about the people. The sailors in the Navy are what make us great, and I know firsthand the power of recruiting and what it can do to change lives, not only for me, but my son is also in the Navy. He's a hospital corpsman stationed with the Marines in Okinawa. And when you're living it yourself, you don't really realize the maturity that's gained. But watching my son grow in these last 5 years has been a sense of pride for me. And that's what we at NTAC Southwest hope to provide to the young men and women of Huntington Beach. Thank you.
Mayor, my job as commanding officer is to bring the fleet where it isn't. I can't think of a better place to bring the fleet than Huntington Beach, Surf City. My recruiters, though, often operate outside of their comfort zone, away from their ships, submarines, and aircraft, SEAL platoons. This can be challenging, and they often face scrutiny as outsiders, to say the least, and just doing their job. As an anecdote, a recruiter operating from NRS Huntington Beach, which is actually in Fountain Valley down the street, was recently greeted with a racial slur on Beach Boulevard as she was just trying to do her job. Recruiters often face challenges accessing schools. Just to share the stories that we're here sharing with you tonight, and to share those experiences with your sons and daughters. Mayor, I ask that you help ensure a safe environment for my recruiters and encourage your colleagues on the school board to provide fair and equal access to present these stories in your schools. As you've heard, the Navy has shaped all of our lives in the most amazing ways possible. We've traveled the world, we've become better men and leaders, and we're all better for it. So I humbly ask for the opportunity to offer the same experiences here in Huntington Beach. Thank you to you and the council and the citizens here of this city for your time.
I just want to thank you guys. Thank you guys for your service. I don't think you'll find a more welcoming city than Huntington Beach, and it's our honor to have you guys here tonight. And I appreciate your guys' presence, and I hope you guys have successful recruiting. We have good men and women in this city that would be hopefully definitely willing to serve. And I just want to real quick, I think Lou Conter, last surviving member of the Arizona, who lived through December 7th, Pearl Harbor, just passed away, I think last week or so. But I just want to recognize his passing. But thank you guys again.
Thank you.
Yeah, if we can. Yeah, anybody else got something to say? Tolstoy? I mean, Don?
That's an inside joke. I'd like to say, gentlemen, that as the son of a naval sailor, my dad fought in the Korean conflict and was a proud naval sailor. And Huntington Beach is a very patriotic city. And I hope you're not getting pushback at the school boards and things like that to get access to share the stories. We have to be proud of our military for one reason. It's something to be proud of. And there is something to say about the Navy. When you see that aircraft carrier come rolling in, that means it's business, along with all the side ships that travel with that. But it's just an unbelievable sight when you see the dominance that we have in the ocean. Thank you to the sailors and the Navy. So God bless you guys.
Thank you.
Chad.
Yeah, I certainly could speak to just what a benefit it is to, be signing up to serve in the Navy. There's a saying, if you aim at nothing in life, you'll hit it. Yeah, unfortunately, that's kind of where I found myself coming out of high school, attending the local community college. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And there's no worse feeling than that, I think, as a young person, not knowing what you want to do and have nothing to aim at. And as I brainstormed, kind of figured, maybe I'll join the military, and be a part of the most elite, figured out what branch I wanted to be a part of. And just felt so great to really have something in my crosshairs, that saying, aim small, miss small. I knew what I wanted to do, and it gave me purpose. But not only that, it also gave me the opportunity to go to school later. So for some people that maybe feel like, college isn't really for me right out the gate, well, the military will give you that discipline. They'll give you a paycheck, they'll feed you, and teach you a lot of great lessons in life. You could do it at a very young age, and you still have so much of your life ahead of you. I wanted to see if I could ask you guys some questions, maybe just to kind of, bring a little bit of a high view in terms of, how's recruitment going, like on the national level versus how it is looking maybe locally here in Huntington Beach, Orange County.
Sure, thank you. Nationally was a banner year, one of the best recruiting years, not only for the Navy, but for the military as a whole in the last 10 years. The Navy itself hit record numbers. NTAC Southwest hit record numbers. Now, we're responsible for all of San Diego County, Riverside County, San Bernardino County, Las Vegas, or Clark County, as well as Orange County. I will say that we struggle in Orange County. Out of my 7 recruiting divisions, Orange County is often my lowest performing division. The competition is fierce. The Army and the Marines do very well here, and that means they've established presence and built relationships within the community, which is what recruiting is about. It's about building relationships and sharing the opportunities that are available. But across the board, recruiting is in a very good place, and it makes me grateful, to support it at this time and have the ability to share that with communities like this.
In terms of obstacles with some of these schools or school boards, what maybe has changed over the last 10, 20 years in terms of, how it used to be and now relationships with schools nowadays between the recruiters and being able to get in front of students?
I can't speak to, what it was like in the past. I think it ebbs and flows, and I think part of it does, tie to the political tide. but by and large, the access to the schools is there. You know, schools allow us in, and it just boils down to the type of access. Ideally, a recruiter does what we're doing here right now. We're presenting, and presenting is about sharing stories and connecting. Oftentimes, our recruiters are able to set up a table at a school lunch or in a cafeteria, which is not a bad thing, but we're searching for some of those ideal constructs, and we find those in other communities, and they're available in Huntington Beach, just not in every school that we're recruiting in.
And so hopefully for any principals or school board members that might be watching this and maybe they just didn't know, before, like, hey, we just need to invite these guys in and give them more of an opportunity to kind of rub shoulders with the students and let them know about opportunities for the future. Hopefully this puts those folks on notice and brings that awareness.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Anybody else? Great case.
Yeah, I just want to thank you guys for your service and for everything you guys do for our country and recruiting. Yeah, for sure. And then, you guys have Pat's number, but please reach out. I'd like to, meet with you guys separately to see how we can help you, obviously within the city, build more relationships. Chad touched on it, whatever. We don't have purview necessarily with the school boards, but we do obviously have influence on the city council. So there's some inroads we can make with you guys, but we want to make this as frictionless as possible. And I mean, we're a coastal city, so our recruitment for the Navy should be beating the Army, right? I mean, come on, and Air Force. So, I mean, come on, we got to step it up. Well, come on, Butch. But anyway, yeah, just reach out to us, and I'll get you guys information from Pat, and whatever we can do to help you guys.
Sir, thank you.
Gracie.
Just want to thank you for your service. Happy 250th birthday. And I'm really grateful for the fact that kids are being given a different opportunity at life. If college is not for them right off the bat, as it wasn't for many of us, the military would have been, it's perfect. It gives you time to experience different ideas, different countries, and options, whereas some kids are lost right out of high school into college, whether it's the trades, whether it's the military, or whether it's college. I'm just grateful that the kids have this opportunity, because I think many times kids who choose to not go straight to college are overlooked, or they're ashamed or shamed for not taking that path. So I'm very grateful. I had family members in the military, and it changed them from boys to men. So thank you.
Butch.
Thank you, Mayor. We had a chance to speak before the meeting, but again, I want to echo what my counterparts up here said, and wish you happy birthday, happy 250th birthday. Thank you for your service. I won't let my experience and career in the United States Air Force keep me from sending people to the U.S. Navy Recruitment Center on Brookhurst in Huntington. Well, it's actually in Fountain Valley, but the Huntington Beach Recruitment Center. But really, thank you very much. I'm proud to have you guys here tonight, and proud to have met you, and proud to have such great people representing the United States. Thank you.
Yeah, I met the commander a couple weeks ago at the Pacific Air Show after he swore in. How many young persons? 14. It was a very impressive, just so cool just to see those young individuals just going that course in their life. Very proud of what you guys do, and very proud of everybody who serves. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Oh, sir, if we don't mind, can we take a picture with y'all? Okay, moving on. All right, consent calendar. Would anybody like to pull an item? All right, clerk, hearing none. Items 8 and 9 for consent calendar. I'll move it.
Second. We made a motion, a second to approve.
You call the vote.
Councilman Twining,
Yes.
Councilman Kennedy,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem McKeon.
Yes.
Mayor Burns.
Aye.
Councilwoman Vandermark.
Yes.
Councilman Gruhl.
Yes.
Councilman Williams.
Yes.
Items passed 7-0.
Okay, moving on to item number 10. We're going to open a public hearing, but conduct a Tax and Equity Fiscal Responsibility Act, TEFRA, public hearing for the Pelican Harbor Apartments. Adopt resolution number 2025-65 approving the issuance of the California Municipal Finance Authority, CMFA, continued issuance of tax-exempt bonds in an amount not to exceed $20 million for the Pelican Harbor Apartments, and approve amendments to affordable housing agreements. City Clerk, do we have any supplemental communications for this item?
Yes, Mayor, we have one supplemental email.
Okay. Staff, please introduce the report.
Good evening, Charles Kovac, Housing Manager. This evening, we'll hold a required public hearing related to the Tax and Equity Fiscal Responsibility Act, commonly known as TEFRA, for the continued issuance of tax-exempt bonds related to the Pelican Harbor Senior Housing Project located at 18431 Beach Boulevard. First, I would like to provide some background information. Pelican Harbors is a 43-unit permanent supportive housing development that was completed in December 2024 and occupied as early as January 2025. The project serves one of the most vulnerable populations in Huntington Beach, formerly homeless seniors over 62 years of age, many whom are disabled and face significant health and mobility challenges. The project includes on-site case management, supportive services, funded through long-term contracts with the County of Orange. The project serves extremely low and very low-income disabled seniors, and per the 2021 housing agreement, currently remains affordable for a period of 60 years. The city contributed over $3 million in loan funds to support the project. These funds were a combination of federal home investment partnership program, home loan funds, and local inclusionary housing funds, inclusionary loan funds, which funds are for exclusive use for affordable housing activities. Under federal law, tax law, the tax-exempt bond financing requires a public hearing before the bonds can be issued. This requirement, established by the TEFRA in 1982, ensures transparency and provides an opportunity for public input. A TEFRA hearing must be held by the governing body of the jurisdiction where the project is located, in this case before the Huntington Beach City Council, even if that agency is not issuing the bonds. The original TEFRA hearing for Pelican Harbor was held in December of 2021, prior to construction, and bonds in the amount of $20 million were subsequently issued by the California Municipal Finance Authority, CMFA, for this project. The project was developed by Jamboree Housing Corporation, a nonprofit affordable housing developer, with additional funding from multiple federal and state sources, including Orange County Mental Health Services Act funds, State of California No Place Like Home funds, and 4% low-income housing tax credits. Tax-exempt bonds issued by CMFA served primarily as a construction loan, with a smaller portion to be retained for permanent financing. The city did not issue the bonds. It is not the borrower. and has no liability for repayment. The bonds are the sole responsibility of the developer and are repaid through a combination of tax credit equity and rental income. As previously mentioned, the original TEFRA hearing was in December of 2021. However, the approval has since expired after 3 years in December 2024. So to comply with IRS regulations and allow a portion of the previously issued bonds to transition from temporary construction financing to long-term permanent financing, a new TEFRA hearing must be held by the City Council. This requirement does not reflect a new bond issuance, nor does it represent additional financing or cost to the city. It is a procedural step needed to maintain the tax-exempt status of the bonds already issued. If not completed, the bondholder could lose the ability to keep the bonds tax-exempt, which would create financing instability for the project and increase the risk of foreclosure. In exchange for hosting the TEFRA hearing, the city negotiated several enhancements to its existing loan agreements with Jamboree. These include extending affordability to 99 years from the current 60 years. It included new annual payment obligation of $5,000 that Jamboree will make to the city for the next 99 years, providing an additional $495,000 in local revenue to support affordable housing and homeless prevention programs. It also improved the loan repayment terms for the city that require the interest rates on both of the city loans, the previously mentioned home loan and inclusionary housing loan, increasing the interest rate from 3% to 5% simple interest beginning in year 20, which would boost the future repayment amount owed to the city by nearly $5 million. These benefits were not required as part of the original financing and represent a favorable renegotiation for the city. Furthermore, the TEFRA hearing does not authorize any new development, alter the project in any way, or affect current tenants. It is strictly a procedural requirement to maintain the tax-exempt status of a portion of the project's financing and use of the previously issued bonds for permanent loan financing. By approving this action, the City Council reinforced its commitment to supporting solutions to reduce homelessness in the community and protecting the city's current investment without taking out any new financial risk or obligation. With that, the staff recommends that the City Council hold a TEFRA hearing this evening, adopt resolution number 2025-65, adopt the first amendments to the Affordable Housing Agreement, amended and restated agreement containing covenants, and the city's promissory notes related to the home funds and inclusionary funds, which these documents all address the benefits of the city will receive by hosting this TEFRA hearing. And then, of course, authorize the city manager and the Housing Authority executive director to execute the previously described documents. So with that, that completes staff's presentation. We are here available for any questions you might have at this time.
All right. Where'd the $3 million come from that the city loaned them?
The $3 million was roughly around $2.8 million of federal home funds. It was a repayment of a project back in, I believe, 2019 or 20. So we received a full lump sum of, I think, around $3 million. So we had we switched out some money. Basically, it was federal dollars that we needed to use. So we just replaced some other funding that we had. And then the balance is around $200,000 is from the inclusionary housing, like in lieu fees, our trust fund account that we have. It's basically in lieu fees that developers pay into it.
How much of that was the in lieu fees?
About $200,000.
So most of it was just basically taxpayer money?
Most of it was federal home dollars, yeah, if you want to call it taxpayer money.
Yeah.
I think everything.
The origination is tax. If it comes from the feds, it's basically taxpayer money.
That's correct.
All right. And The rents, how are the rents collected? Isn't there a 30%? Is that the way it works? 30% of their income?
Yeah,
That's like, is the rent so much but they only pay 30% of their
yeah,
income?
and because we're, almost 3/4 of the units are extremely low income, the rents are significantly really low, and you're only paying 30% of their income, so the income is very low. So 30% of something doesn't really generate a whole lot of money for these type of projects, because the balanced 9 units are still very low income. There's no like low or moderate income units in this project.
But the rent still gets paid. Like how much is okay, they pay 30%, but if they're making $3,000 a month, they pay $1,800 or somewhere like that, right?
If they're fortunate to be
30%
living
on
there, I don't think they would qualify
$900,
$3,000 a month. But if they were paying $3,000 a month as an example, then 30% of that's like $1,000.
Yeah.
But I don't know the exact demographics of the in terms of who's paying what. Or,
But if they're paying a part of, is the rent set? Is there a set rent? Then it's subsidized by other monies to bring it up to,
yeah, I mean, we get some vouchers from the county. The rents have a maximum amount. They can only go up so high. They can only be a maximum rate. I don't have the number in front of me. It could be like $500 for the rent. So whatever they can't pay is potentially subsidized up to the maximum rent.
subsidized with either some of the bond money or taxpayer money?
Well, or vouchers provided by the county.
Which is taxpayer money, right?
Sure.
Yeah. The project, how was it? We only gave them $3 million, but then they built it on bond money? Is that how it was?
And tax credit money and some county money, and I believe, and as I mentioned, some No Place Like Home state money too, state grant.
More taxpayer money?
Sure. I mean,
so
those,
it's largely funded by taxpayer money, the whole project?
yeah.
Okay. And what's the ramifications? Should we not grant this or approve this TEFRA or whatever?
Well, I mean, if you don't approve or hold the TEFRA, then the ramifications would be that their conversion of the construction loan, not all of it can be converted to the permanent financing for the project. And also they would lose their tax exempt status, the interest rates would be higher, therefore their debt service payments on the bonds would increase. And because the margins are so thin with these type of projects, because of the low affordability that we're dealing with, they would probably be very tight in terms of cash flow for the project. Which could lead in the long run, if cash flow doesn't meet the expenditures of the project or the debt service payment included or just maintenance, then that could result in potential default down the line. And that could, I'm not saying that would happen. I haven't witnessed a default, but it's always possible.
All those monies that were given to build this project were conditional on being low income for the elderly, disabled, or something to that effect, correct?
Yes.
So that wouldn't be honored in any way after if they default?
Well, if they default, it really depends upon what gets wiped out. Does our loan get wiped out? Do other loans get wiped out, like the county and the state?
So our $3 million is a loan?
Yeah, ours is a loan.
Paid by the bonds?
Yeah. Well, they're paid eventually by potentially income generated from the project. It's a residual receipts where if there's any money left over after operations, then we get, like 25% of that funding, and it starts to pay down the interest and the principal on the project, in the loan, the loan that we had. So yeah, eventually, in these type of projects, you don't really see much repayment in the first like 5 to 10 years because there's other factors involved. So
And the 5,000 a month being requested per year, at the end of 99 years, that's like a cup of coffee potentially. I mean, I'm just wondering, that's a pretty small amount, especially without any cost of living increase or anything like that. I'm just kind of curious. That seems, even on today's dollars, at a municipal level with a project like this, seems awfully nominal.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that was the main point of, I think the interest was the main point of the,
But I'm still curious about what this 5,000 was. This just, I mean, I'm like I say, 5,000 a year for a project to this. I mean, like I say, at the end of the year, that 5,000 will fill out a few, some
Yeah.
gas for our still gas using cars for the fleet within the city. But
Yeah.
I'm just kind of curious. That's awfully small amount, given what the credit would be, tax-free versus interest bonds.
I will say that $5,000 is a lot to the developer, especially in the initial year, because of their razor-thin margins right now on the cash flow, because it's not like they're walking away with money, so.
Have you guys inspected their books to assure that?
I mean, we haven't received any audited financials yet because we're still it's been the first year of the project, so we'll receive those probably in January.
Okay, and the 2% starts of the interest starts at the end of 20 years?
Yeah, so year 20 is when it begins.
And what does that represent at the end of 99 years?
It's like over $60,000 a year increase. So I calculated around a little bit less than $5 million.
At the end of?
Yeah, at the end of the term, 99 years.
79 years?
Yeah,
79 years.
Exactly.
79 years, yeah.
Yeah, minus the 20.
Yeah.
That's correct.
All right. I think that's all I have for right now. Anybody else? Don?
Thank you, Charles. A couple questions here. So the TEFRA from 2021 expired 12/24, correct?
That's correct.
So is there any protocol for waiting this long for another TEFRA hearing? So we're 10 months into 25. Are there
Sure.
guidelines?
I'm not sure. There's a certain timing. That might be more of a question for Jamboree that's here. But I would say that there was a time period where between the time the project closes and the time they're allowed to convert to permanent financing, that's like 6 months if I'm correct. So then we got into July. Initially, we were planning to come in July.
Didn't they come back in, like February or maybe March and asking us for the same thing without the 5,000 or the 2%? They came to us once and we said no, and now they added some.
Yeah, I can't recall a formal council meeting where they came back and regarding this agenda item.
It was February, March.
Yeah, but we were initially planning to go in July, which fit the Jamboree schedule, but there was a further negotiations that went on that got to the point we are at tonight, and that's why we're here tonight.
I mean, I would like to know the answer regarding the TEFRA guidelines. I mean, the TEFRA hearing here is all about them being able to obtain funding, and I want to make sure that, they are compliant within the TEFRA timelines. I mean, maybe this gentleman can tell us.
The requirement to have an active TEFRA is triggered by our conversion of the bonds from construction to permanent financing. And quite frankly, this is new to us too. We've never gone through a 3-year TEFRA period before. Because this project happened during COVID and had to deal with a lot of the issues around COVID, around supply chain and manpower, this was delayed. We've never experienced this before, so this was new to us. So when we started talking in February about converting financing, that's when our council did research as to what was necessary with an expired TEFRA. That's when they informed us that we would have to request a new TEFRA. That's when we came back and talked to the city in February.
Okay, so you feel like your council advised you that you're compliant with the TEFRA
Yes.
guidelines? Okay.
Yes.
The next thing would, so Mr. Kovac, over this, so the city hasn't seen any payback. They said, the first 5 to 10 years, razor sharp margins, but you're 100% occupied. You must have run a pro forma. So I don't see the income getting better. There's no CapEx being put into your project now. So what would be the variance in incomes? Is there rental increases?
There are typically annual rental increases.
Okay.
They average 2 to 3 to 4%, but over time that does accrue.
So do you have any idea when we'll start seeing payback on our subordinated loan?
There are a couple of items in front of the city loan and the other residual receipts loans. Our projections show that payback on those would start in basically in year 16.
Okay, it's a long way out. The next question I had was, it seems like maybe due to circumstances, Jamboree seems a little tenuous at, like bordering on, I'm not going to say insolvency, but like a make or break on this loan almost, so to speak.
Yeah.
Could your things been done better? Are there any learnings from this? I took a look at, you guys have a $3 billion portfolio, it looks like, market value. So, I mean, you're not new to this.
Right. Yeah, this is the typical way that these projects are underwritten. Typically, the metrics we use are a 1:15 debt service coverage ratio, which means that virtually all of the income, save for that 15%, is used for leveraging. That's a very typical structure in the affordable housing world.
Okay. I'm just looking over my notes here. I think you've answered my questions for now. Thank you.
Great. Yeah.
Butch.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
I just thank you for the opportunity to answer questions, and thank you.
I wouldn't go anywhere if you
Okay,
can.
I'll stay here.
Good evening. How many residents are living in Pelican right now?
We're 100% occupied.
100%. That's 43?
Correct, right.
Okay. How many are Huntington Beach residents?
We don't know exactly how many are Huntington Beach residents. We have tracked how many have ties to Huntington Beach, and that's
Right.
whether they lived, worked, or went to school in Huntington Beach, and by our count, it's about 86% of the residents.
Okay. Excellent. Glad to hear that. These are all seniors, elderly.
They're all
Some
62
are
plus.
handicapped.
Correct.
And this is kind of their residence of last resort, else they might become, what's the proper term, without abode or something like that? Homeless.
Without homes. Yeah. If we can keep these 43 residents housed, we think that's a success. A number of them will go on to once they're stabilized, we'll go on to other housing solutions,
Right.
And then we'll move new folks into that. But for some of these folks, yeah, this will be their last residence.
Thank you. I will be in support of this. The last thing I want to do is put any seniors, and especially handicapped seniors, in jeopardy of being displaced. So I will be supporting this.
So you're saying that your guys would, you put these people on the street if these bonds didn't go through, the project would fail?
Yeah, as Mr. Kovacs pretty eloquently explained, that there would be a cascading effect. The razor thin margins, that 1:15 debt service coverage ratio that we talked about would pretty quickly get flooded. Also, we would probably have to, Jamboree would put in additional equity, which would become a general partner loan. So we would try to obviously continue to run the project as stably as we can. If the expenses overwhelmed us, we would no longer be involved in the deal. The first thing that would happen if we were in default is our lender would foreclose on us and remove us as general partner.
What would happen to all those taxpayer dollars that got invested in that?
The private loan from our lender is in first position, and they would likely wipe out all the subordinate debt.
Which is the taxpayer investment.
Correct, right.
Andrew.
Just a couple questions, I guess, for both of you, but although some of them might have been answered in parcel. So 100% occupancy, 43 seniors living there. Do you know the more recent numbers of unsheltered seniors living in Huntington Beach? I know in 2022 it was 188.
I don't know the point in time count off the top of my head.
Okay.
But that sounds right. That
And
sounds
then,
close.
and then generally speaking for Orange County, just bringing it much broader, I know, because you're involved in a lot of the projects here in Orange County, just from your perspective, just the seniors specifically trying to break through that cycle of homelessness, how many of your projects right now in Orange County specifically target seniors?
I don't know specifically in Orange County, but roughly we have about 11,000 units throughout California, and about a third of that, a little less than a third of that are reserved for seniors.
Okay. Okay, got you. I just think it's important context. I don't think a lot of people recognize when it comes to kind of that cycle of homelessness, especially in Orange County. It actually is a lot of seniors. Last number I saw in 2024 was 7,322 seniors that were like completely unsheltered. So Butch, you answered my question about, I asked the same question about locals, but we can assume 80 to 85% of that. In terms of the financial and compliance reports, do we get any of those on a regular basis? I mean, even unaudited from the city?
Sure. The city has a couple of different roles to play in this project, and that includes full access to our audits and as they're prepared.
And then you probably have mandates as well through the state or even the federal government.
Yeah,
Is that just yearly?
Yeah, a lot of compliance, and a lot of eyes on this project.
Yearly audited?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Both from our lender, our investor, the IRS, the state, the county, as well as the city.
Is Jamboree as the developer, do they take a management fee or even a fee through the process?
We actually don't manage the development ourselves. We contract with a third-party property manager. We do have a small asset management fee. I believe it's $15,000 that covers our costs of overseeing the project during its operations.
And through the various services that are provided within the project itself, how many outside service providers are there?
We provide most of the services. We do have two different service providers that contract as well.
And then just to kind of dive into the kind of catastrophic hypothetical, in the event that there was a default on the loan before we started, things started to unwind. I mean, there's various nonprofit organizations. We talked to Mercy House in the past. Obviously, Illumination Foundation is a big one that we know the name of. Would any of those, in theory, those nonprofits step in and try and bridge any gap?
We would, before we got to the default, we would tap as many resources as we possibly could to responsibly fill any gaps that there are. That's just the way Jamboree operates. We've operate properties at a loss previously. It's not we don't like to do it, but we're mission driven, so that's part of our mission.
And in your entire portfolio, have you ever had any projects that have defaulted?
We have not.
Okay. That's it for me. Thank you.
Don?
Just to go on the record, I know all these people, nobody wants to put seniors out, but questions need to be asked. I mean, our taxpayers expect us to ask questions, even if we're not on the hook as a signer, so we can all learn together. So how do you guys make your money? I'm just curious.
Sure, it's a good question, and I would like to state I'm very grateful for the council's support throughout the whole process as we've completed and are operating what is now a successful project. Staff and council, and especially as we've talked about this, the extension of this TAFRA approval. Many of you have given a lot of thoughtful time, consideration, and attention to this matter, and I really do appreciate it, and I appreciate the questions this evening. Jamboree, primarily, we make our revenues through developer fee, which is part of the capital structure. So built into the cost of the project is a developer fee. That's how we keep our lights on and pay our staff.
Do you have an equity position, or do you have dollars invested? You take fees out. Do you have investment dollars in?
We finance all the pre-development funding ourselves. Typically, in the affordable housing world, this is the box that we've constructed to build affordable housing in this country. The additional funding comes from the public sector, as the mayor pointed out. There is no real equity position to have because those returns are so small, because the cash flow is so small. There aren't really economic returns available.
Okay. And the last question I had is, in the PowerPoint it said a portion of the funds will transfer. One of the sentences up there, it said a portion of the funds will transfer.
Yeah, so we initially issued $20 million in bonds to fund the construction and to bridge the other sources that come in. So now that we've completed and are ready to convert, those sources are coming in. Tax credit equity, funds from the county, funds from the state. We use those funds as they come in to pay down that bond from $20 million to approximately $3.7 million. So that 3.7 will remain as the permanent loan. The rest of the bonds are repaid.
Okay. Thank you.
Chad?
I think it's really important to understand kind of context-wise, the previous council that had approved the TETRA and gave you the 3-year window was a very different kind of council at that time that was probably more attracted towards affordable housing projects and foregoing property taxes. I'm curious, how much property tax are we foregoing, because there is a tax exemption, right, for the property over the span of the next 60 or even going on to 99 years? I mean, is it safe to say that as a city, we're foregoing millions upon millions of dollars in property tax?
Yeah, that's under California state law, that is the property tax exemption is available to us, and we did do that. It helped make the capital structure possible. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Over the 99 years, it would certainly be millions of dollars.
And so I think that that's something that is helpful for Jamboree, but that's a burden on the taxpayer, because it's going to be the taxpayers that ultimately pick that up while you're making your money still doing what you do through development, impact. I'm curious, the pilot, $5,000 a year, would you guys be open to, possibly expanding on that? We had a project with Marisol. They had a TEFRA, and their payment in lieu of taxes was pretty much what the tax assessment for that property would be, not necessarily saying or asking for you to come up to that level, but would you be open to raising it beyond the 5,000?
Yeah, we took a long, hard look at this. We truly did, as we discussed this with some of the council members and staff, because this request happened after the project was essentially baked and funds were committed. It was very difficult for us to move. We, I think, did a good job on meeting the request. We were able to extend the regulatory agreement to 99 years. We were able to identify the $5,000 available, as we've talked about. Is there very thin margins on this project, and then third, we were able to increase the interest on the city loan after year 20. So we were able to meet all three items on a baked, completed deal.
Now, I'm not sure, if going from 60 years for affordable here in Huntington Beach to 99 years, exactly a carrot, to, this city council, our community.
Yeah, that was a request that came from staff and from council members.
Okay. So would you guys be open to possibly raising the ceiling on that, 5,000?
I think we've done a good job of responding to the request as much as we could. Again, this project is completed. We're proud of it. It's operating well. We kind of did what we could in terms of without risking the financial viability of the project in meeting kind of all three of the bullet point requests.
Well, I appreciate the fact that you guys were able to take a look at possibly restructuring some of this, bringing up the $5,000, changing from 60 years to 99 years. And I see this as maybe an opportunity to do a little bit more restructuring before we sign off on it. So for me personally, the way that I see it, it was a past council that approved this. I don't think that this current council probably would have approved this type of project that put such a burden on our taxpayer. And we have to look out for the best interests of our citizens and community and how we campaigned and, we were voted in. And so what I would like to do is to make a substitute motion, move to continue.
Well, Chad,
yes.
Let's put that off until we discuss a little bit
Okay.
more. Okay. I got a question. the rent, you say is going to go up 2 to 4%. Is that a fixed, I mean?
No, it's typically, it varies. There are two different factors, but it goes up by how much the median income in the area goes up, and then there's also a factor of how much voucher payment goes up. It's typically based on cost of living increases.
All right, anybody got any other questions? Andrew?
What did you say that there was a low-income tax credit that we received that expired in 2024, but then people moved in 2025? Is that correct? Did I hear that properly?
I think the TEFRA expired, didn't it?
Yeah, the TEFRA expired in December of '24, but the tenants moved in early 2025.
Okay. So
would we have needed this hearing if you guys, what was the procedure if the TEFRA didn't expire at that point? You guys, would we have still needed to come to council to extend it?
Yes, if we'd converted prior to December of 2024, we would not have needed the additional TEFRA hearing.
Okay.
Got it. Okay.
So there are 43 units. Is occupancy one person per unit, or are there like couples living in there?
The limits on one-bedroom apartments is 3 people per unit, but I believe in every single one except one of the units, I believe they're all single occupancy.
Okay, thank you.
Quick real estate question. If you guys don't know the answer, maybe JV does, but kind of the history on the property in terms of, I myself am a real estate developer, I'll get into that later when we go through deliberations, but just like the shape of the property, JV, how long has it been available for? I guess why you guys identified it, why you guys thought it might work for your business plan?
It's a good question, and we actually looked at the project a number of years ago. Looked at the site a couple of years ago. Ultimately, our partner, which is USA Properties, they're another affordable housing developer. They own 30% of the land. They were actually able to tie the land up first. They brought us in to assist because they're based in Sacramento and we're Orange County based. So we entered into a joint venture agreement and worked with them. But we liked it because it gave great access for the seniors to have access to transportation, to medical care, to libraries and other community facilities. We were able to, and the project penciled, and we were able to attract the appropriate funding sources to make the capital structuring work.
Thank you.
All right, if there's no other questions.
Yeah, I have one other question.
Okay, Don?
Charles, have we received any financials at all from Jamboree?
Well, we've received because again, we were early in the process, we've received like the pro formas that they provided for the development of the project and then the final costs that they had for the project and everything. But we haven't received any, I can't recall receiving anything, but I don't think we have, any like independent audits that we will typically receive every January or February that will review the prior year. So this project was completed in late 2024 during the 24-25 fiscal period. I assume that they're in the process of right now doing independent financial audit for the fiscal year 24-25. That's typically how it works. So we'll get an independent audits report per our agreement that gives us that right to get that report.
And the reason I ask is, as Councilmember Williams said, there's the give and take on the benefits and the detractions of, the exemptions. The property tax is a big deterrent when you look at a revenue source. The upside is housing seniors that are in need. So there's that dichotomy of like, what's good, what isn't. I mean, it would be nice just to be able to just take a look at, so you've got a pro forma, you're 100% occupied. Listen, I want this thing to move forward, but, we have to be somewhat financial stewards to a certain extent, and not to say you don't deserve a vote, but.
What's that? Question, you can use that in discussion, but.
Okay, well, okay, yeah.
All right, is there any more questions? Okay, well then, we got to stick to the question. Yeah. All right. We're going to close the, we'll open the public hearing at this point.
There are no speakers.
Okay. Then we're going to close the public hearing and council discussion. Now, Don, go ahead.
What I was saying, Mayor, is this is a situation where there's no financials yet. Not that they're going to be dramatically compelling because the margins are slim, but you know, we're asked to make a financial decision. We've asked some questions. Nobody's heartless, but you know, the irony that we might see financials in January when, you know, here we are at the, you know, almost the end of October. If we could see something, you know, we're not going to see a golden egg over here, but to Council Member Williams' question is, $5,000 is nominal. I know you guys, you crunched your numbers and you put a good faith number, and I appreciate it. I believe it may have been Councilman McKeon that was working with you guys and raised the simple interest rate as well, and we appreciate that. But it would be nice to know if we had some discussions with the board members, you know, is there not a little bit more money left in that well? We're not talking about coming up to like our pilot program over here, payment in lieu of taxes, where they said we'll pay you the full tax amount in our pilot program, and they're a nonprofit as well, market rate given. But, you know, I'd like to hear what anybody else might have to say about that. And again, nobody's heartless up here. It's just, again, can we get a little bit more out of the deal because of what we're giving, you know? So I'd like to kind of discuss that a little bit with the council members.
And that's kind of the idea I was getting at, Councilman Kennedy, is the possibility of looking at continuing this just so that we could look at this together with staff, with the developer, at possibly restructuring this in a way that's more favorable for, you know, our taxpayers and our priorities as a city. So just pumping the brakes is not a no, but just taking a look and have that opportunity to receive and review those financials before we make a decision sort of quickly with our back up against the wall.
Go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, so I just keep going around that number, 188 unsheltered seniors in Huntington Beach. So ultimately, the cost of having anybody in the catastrophic event that there was a default, the cost of actually taking care of the community here could be beyond that. So as we look at those numbers, or you want to look at those numbers, I just think, I mean, this is really a no margin game. I don't think we're gonna see anything in the financials that present some massive bottom line that's being hidden between the lines. I think it's important we just consider that as we look at that.
Mayor.
Go ahead.
Yeah, JV, like I touched on it at the last segment. So can you kind of highlight the property, Don, if you want to look at this? Check it out. So that building, right? And then the only access is off a beach. Denny's is on the corner, so you have this narrow access point. So JV, can you kind of walk through the history of the property, how it was identified for high density, and you know, just the history before this project came about?
Yeah, I mean, since the Beach Energy Specific Plan was adopted, and I think even before that, we've had a few projects that were proposed, residential projects that were proposed on the site market rate, but they were never able to, the people that were proposing the project were never able to propose a project that would meet the zoning standards. And so for one reason or another, they didn't move forward with the project, or they were denied because they couldn't meet the zoning standards. These were market rate projects.
Give an example of zoning standards that they could not meet.
They couldn't meet like building distance separation, setbacks, building height. Because of the odd-shaped lot, it's very narrow frontage on Beach Boulevard parking. It's hard to fit all of those components into the project due to the shape of the lot. It almost looks like a flag lot because you have a very narrow frontage on Beach Boulevard, and then the bulk of the developable area is located on the west side of the property. And then in 2020, when we were dealing with our fifth cycle housing element, we were required to identify 6 sites for essentially housing that we had to allow residential affordable housing on, and this was one of them. So this site, essentially, you couldn't put anything other than housing, and it had to have at least 20% affordability on it.
So where I'm getting with that is I just want to bring up the history. So to Councilmember Williams' comment on property tax, what we're foregoing, I mean, the private sector essentially is, for lack of a better term, deemed this property almost undevelopable. I mean, what do you put there, right? Like, you can't park it, you can't meet setbacks. So I share the mayor's concern because I am a private sector developer. It goes against my DNA to have taxpayer-funded projects. However, that is the reality that we are in this state and in this country. But if those funds were to be used, like, they are developing a project that the private sector cannot, in terms of the shape of the property, but also B, like, you cannot develop a affordable, very low affordable housing project for disabled seniors in the private sector. So the gentleman that came up and talked about how thin their pro forma is, it's all based on the tax refinancing, the minimal cash flow to razor thin margins. They make their money on their development fees, but again, they're delivering a product that the private sector cannot. I understand wanting to get more of a pilot from them, but I know staff over these last 4, 5, 6 months have asked them, like, what else can you guys give to hold this TEFRA hearing? And the 5,000 seemed like a heavy lift. That was never talked about initially. The affordability covenants going from 60 to 99, I mean, that basically just protects this property from continuing to always be affordable, to deliver that product that it was designed to be built for affordable seniors that have disabilities in some cases. And then secondly, so that taking it from 60 to 99, and then lastly, moving the interest rate from 3% to 5%. So Charles, can you kind of touch on these, like, home funds, right? Like, we get these home funds money and they can only be used for projects like this, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. The home funds and the inclusionary housing funds, that was a significantly smaller portion of the package, can only be used for housing, affordable housing, excuse me.
Okay, so again, I mean, the comments we made, like, if this came to us before, this was undeveloped, I mean, it may be a different story. But you factor in the property dynamics, the shape, the almost being undevelopable in the private sector. Couple that with, here we are today, it's a finished project. There's seniors living inside the units. It's delivering the service they want. We've gotten 3 concessions from them. The 3 to 5% in year 20, I mean, that's, what do you say, $4 to $5 million over the life of the loan to the city?
It's just shy of $5 million.
Right. To me, that's a big win. All those factors in play, looking at it with open eyes, based on the history where we are right now, like, I will support it because of that. But of course, that's just me on one voice, but I wanted to share with the colleagues up here kind of the dynamics of what we're looking at, because again, I am a real estate developer, and this site, in my opinion, cannot be developed in the private sector.
Go ahead.
I concur with what you said there, Casey. I mean, it's a flag lot. There's no question about it. It's a difficult build. I guess the sentiment is, it seems like on the dais up here, we get faced with these decisions that we got to know now because, we're up against the wall, and that never feels good. So, you get in that position, you have to ask questions. At this point, I'm probably going to have to acquiesce, and I'll support the project. But, getting pushed up against time frames because of circumstances that are certainly beyond the council's control is not a good way to do business. And I feel like we get put in this position. In this case, it's built. It's a tough build. Private sector passed on it. I have to be honest, though. I know you can dig deeper into that balance statement or your balance sheet and find some additional dollars. But if you're going to say 5,000, it's going to, tap you out. We'll leave it at that. But with that said, I have no further questions.
Gracie.
So we did deal with this a while ago on council when this came forward, and one thing we asked was, what can we do to benefit the taxpayers out of this? It was a mistake. It was was it a 2-month overlap? Was it 2 months that the TEFRA had expired? When it was brought to us initially?
I'm not, honestly, I can't remember if it was ever brought formally to the city council, but I could be wrong. I just can't remember.
I think it was brought forward at EDC.
Oh, EDC.
Was it EDC? Okay, so this was brought forward, and we said, okay, what can we do to that would benefit the taxpayers. And we went back into negotiations. That was about 6 months ago. It was a plot of land that no developer wanted to deal with. They couldn't develop it. It's been developed into a project that's benefited 43, maybe 44 senior citizens. There haven't been any issues. I don't believe we have, Chief, do you know if we've had like police calls out there to that property? Have there been any issues?
None that I'm aware of.
So we have a great project with neighbors there who have no issue with the project, seniors that are being housed. And out of this one-time overlap, we were able to get 3 concessions for the taxpayers. I do believe that everybody negotiated in good faith, and we are here now, and I am going to support this. I do think that everybody did everything possible to make sure that we got something back out of it, and at the same time, it would still work for the residents. I cannot get past the idea that we have at least 43, 44 people that this would affect, and to that, they're senior citizens. I think they deserve peace of mind. I don't think they should be waiting to see, are we going to be able to afford to live here? I've been in situations where I wasn't certain if I'd have a home, other times where I didn't, and it's a horrible feeling, and I am not willing to do that to our senior citizens, so I will be supporting this.
Jen, were any zoning changes granted to this project for being low income that would not have been granted to private developers?
This project didn't have to provide as much parking because of the senior aspect of it.
No setbacks from the neighbors, like to the west of them or anything
They met
like
all the
that?
setbacks. It was just the, for the most part, it was the parking.
All right, the access off beach, you said was the only access to the building, but yet that Auto Park Drive is a full access to the parking structure, right? It's a driveway, basically.
Yeah, there is other access. I meant there was only street frontage from with the narrow area at Beach Boulevard.
And, but if, for the Jamboree people, how many of the parking spots? You have 7 out in front, I believe it was, and 22 underneath? And how many of those are taken? You can answer from there, you don't know.
We still have some parking spaces open. There are still some.
How many?
I can get you the exact count, but I don't.
Okay, you don't know. So no zoning changes. So it's more like a Z property, not a flag property, because you do have that access. If people could drive in from the neighborhood through the back of the building into their parking stall, but they come through that alley. It's really an alley. I've been back there, and it's more of an alley, not a drive, but it is now with that. And there's 7 guest parking out in front, I believe. Is it guest parking, right? And staff. With that, I just want to emphasize that so many tax dollars has gone into this, and so many tax dollars are going to be lost to this. I think people don't understand that loss of tax dollars eats at our survival. It's killing me. Believe me, it's not that I'm not sensitive to elderlies with disabled elderly or anything, but goes to people wonder why their street isn't paved, why we have cracking pipes or things like that, why we have to cut personnel on staff, why we don't have enough, why we can't hire enough police, why we might have to degrade our fire department from a class 1 to a class 2 because we're not getting tax dollars and stuff. All these projects that are very virtuous, there's a limit, and it's all costing us, and it's killing me. It's kind of and Jamboree, I'm sure you guys, I cannot believe that $5,000 without any cost of living involved in it, but yet your rents increase every year 2 to 4%, but that $5,000 isn't increasing. This whole project, I think there's room for negotiation or at least more further kind of considerations. I hate to see us make a decision so rashly on this without some decision. I would have loved to see our finance commission look at this, and we have some good people on that, very experienced eyes on numbers, and they might see something that might have been helping all of us. So I'd like to see this thing continued. And staff, tell me this. Would there be any harm in continuing this for a month so we can maybe let Finance Commission or at least ask a few more questions and maybe look at a few things book-wise?
I would need to defer to Jamboree because I'm not sure where they are in the process of converting to the
Well, that would
permanent
go
loan.
back to I think Don said, that we get these, come on, sir, we get these projects at the 11:30th hour and told, oh yeah, hey, go ahead and make a decision on something that's going to affect your constituents and your public so much. It just kind of, that doesn't sit well with me either.
Sorry, Mayor. Yeah, respectfully, we understand, but we are at the end of our available options. So it would be a tremendous hardship and would cause.
What is the end?
Our construction loan period is expiring.
As of when? What, you got a date?
I can get you the date. I believe it's in October.
This is October.
Yeah, October. The end of the month, our construction loan becomes due.
So why didn't
We
this
have
come
exercised-
earlier? Why didn't you come with this request back in July when we could have worked out something?
Yeah, because this deal was already structured and set. All the changes that we made had to be approved by all of our capital partners. Had to go through all the lawyers, make sure that it would still work. We went through that process before we finalized and agreed to all the requested changes that we could.
Mayor, we brought this back I've been here trying to facilitate the project. I was not here from the beginning. About 4 or 5 months ago, I was asked to try to help and see. We brought this back 4 or 5 months ago. We were asked to go revisit it and bring more concessions to the council, so we did. We worked through collaboratively with the staff, and we brought our very best.
Okay, thank you. Well, we don't have any more meetings this month. That's what pisses me off. It upsets me that, like Don said, that we're stuck here making this decision that affects our whole city, and I don't like it. I don't like it. I think there's, like I said, you guys can get 2 to 4% raise in rents. Oh, the calamity, and then you use the soft point. Oh my gosh, the elderly are going to hit the streets. Well, that's just poor plan on you guys in that sense. The whole, and we're going to have to pay for it. Everything is taxpayer this, on the backs of the taxpayers. At some point, the system breaks because the taxpayers being demanded upon too much in too many ways. And as the financial authorities for this city, it hurts to make these decisions, especially without all the information or for enough scrutiny. And this 11:30 kind of technique that I see done too often, I think is gross. But
Mayor, may I ask a question? City Manager, was this actually agendized 4 months ago and brought forward? I don't recall that. Maybe, I don't recall everything, but was
This
it
was on
agendized?
the agenda before. This got brought forward to council, or this got through EDC, and there was discussions, and staff was working with them, and some council members that had interest in this, and so now this is when it.
No, but, Mr. Mitchell said it was agendized and it was brought before council. Yes or no?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so.
No, it has not been agendized, Bert. No.
We didn't agendize it. We brought it back to be agendized, and then it was told to us that we need some more concessions. So we've been working very diligent with all parties. We had no slowness on our part or staff's part, and this was the quickest date that we could get to this meeting point.
so staff's fault that it's coming to us right now. with no more meetings, no more consideration dates unless we go past date or call a special meeting? Is that it?
I'm not aware that either party was slow, to the best
Well, you
of...
just said it's kind of on staff's part.
No, I think we both work, I said, collaboratively and very good together, and we brought it back. Every time he was asked to meet, we did. Every time we were asked to go back and forth, we did. So I think it's been about 4 or 5 months. We originally wanted to bring it back. We brought the concessions back, and we're here today.
And I'm back to what's the difference? You don't have the TEFRA now. You're saying something's grossly going to change that's going to affect your bond?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. The outstanding portion of the bond will be no longer tax exempt, so our lender will not honor the commitment of the loan. So there will likely be a renegotiation of a smaller amount of loan. Jamboree would have to put additional funds into the project in order to convert the construction loan.
So this is a decision that's going to be, if we do have to push through this, it's again something else the taxpayer on our decision is going to have to be burdened with.
With a firm deadline, why is it coming here when we're at the deadline? I mean,
And we don't really even know what the deadline is. It seems like they just kind of threw that one out there, October. What's the deadline? How are we not here with a deadline, knowing exactly what it is?
Sorry, I have my project manager who works with the project on a day-to-day basis. I was asking her for the exact date. Our construction loan expires October 31st.
okay, so is that prudent to have it come to council for the first time with no latitude for us to make any adjustments in the ability to maybe delay it for 2 weeks? This is the first time nobody's reached out to me about any TEFRA hearing or Jamboree. I've kind of heard a little bit. So I'm hearing all this now, and I'm basically told, make a decision now, or we lose.
Same.
I don't like that.
We've been working diligently with staff and with council to address these items as they've come up. As I said, we do have partners, we do have capital partners, we do have lawyers that we have to work through to make sure that we're able to do these things. We did that as diligently and as quickly as we possibly could.
So I think if I was in your position with so much at risk, I would be telling staff, you have to bring this now because we have firm deadlines. And unless you tell me you did that and they pushed back and said, no, we're not going to bring it yet, then you have more at risk than we do. Why you wouldn't do that? And basically, let me get this straight. So the negotiation was basically just back and forth. Can we come up with $5,000 and go from 3% to 5%? Is that, and go from 60 years to 99 years? It took you guys 5 months to make those concessions either way? Is that what you're saying?
It's not quite how the process went, but yes is the short answer. For a large portion of that, we have to have this approved through a number of bureaucratic capital partners, and we have to work under the agreements that we had already struck that we were now undoing in order to provide the concessions that were requested.
And did you tell them you need to move on these decisions, yay or nay, quicker because we're at a firm deadline and they said, well, don't worry, just put it on the council, make them feel the heat?
No, that was never done. My goal is to always work as quickly as possible. I asked the client, please go as quickly as you can, and I was checking in, and staff said they were working on the issue. That's the truth.
And the issue again was working on going for $5,000 a year and 3 to 5 and 60 to 99. That's the staff was that a difficult decision? What took 5 months to render that decision? I'm just curious.
So can I just address this? We started at EDC. EDC, we presented what the need was, which was Jamboree needed a TEFRA hearing. The council members on EDC said, well, what will we get out of it? And we explained what the TEFRA hearing was, and they said you should go back and try to get something more out of it. We did start by asking, what about a pilot? What about what was done on the market rate assisted living project across the street from the city? That's where we began.
Real quick, Jennifer, please. What was that month?
I don't know.
Yeah, we requested to agendize in July.
So they start there. That was something that cannot be done, again, with the financials on Jamboree's end. It went back and forth. Some of the EDC council members were also involved in those discussions, and it came to the point where the benefits that were presented tonight were what was ultimately negotiated, which was increasing from 60 to 99 years, the additional 5 million, close to 5 million that the city stands to get through the increased interest rate, and then the additional close to 500,000 that the city will get with the annual fees. That did take some time to go back and forth. We were fortunate to work, again, with Jamboree's team, the staff team, and also the council members on EDC that helped to bring all that together. That did take some time. Jamboree had to go back, as the Jamboree representatives mentioned, they have to go back and talk to all of their partners and their lawyers, basically. And then we had to draft up all of the various agreements through our city attorney's office, the amendments to those agreements.
Is there any restructuring capabilities after the 31st? Go back to tax exempt if we work out something different? Is there, you guys might get stung for a month or so, but if we come back in November and after some diligent talks or considerations on some other funding or some other, because I have heartache, $5,000 a year, that is just as.
Yeah, these.
That's a good point, Mayor. I think, eating crow for maybe a month or two, before we restructure might just be the way forward.
Again, we've taken a lot of looks at this. These deals are extraordinarily thinly underwritten. That's the structure that affordable housing works within. We've talked to all of our partners. We've looked at the finances. We just do not have any additional room available on this. We have,
Have you looked into and asked about that extending into November? You're asking us to extend something. Why don't you ask them that you guys are in negotiations and it's quite favorable? I don't care what you tell them, but to get that extension.
We asked in July, and the staff then said, deal with the council representative and any people and work with us collaboratively to bring more. So we did start in July. We couldn't get it done any quicker, and then we were told that this was a good meeting of the minds at what they came up with and staff came up with, and so to present it.
Who you would be doing the bond issue, or who has control of the bonds that you're talking about would have to basically almost penalize you for not getting the TEFRA. Have you talked to them about their possible getting the extension?
Yes, we've already utilized the extensions that were available to us.
Plural. So you've gotten others.
Yes.
COVID wrecked you.
COVID. No, there was no COVID when we started this process.
Well, but the extensions that we've had to use a number of extensions on the financing because of COVID, because the construction was delayed, and because as we've been trying to work out this TEFRA extension. So we've exhausted all of our extensions.
And are we concerned about something happening that, as you guys said, historically has never happened before, have to default?
It's a very real possibility. Quite frankly, what would happen is as we've discussed, our lender would reduce the amount of perm loan. Jamboree would have to make a loan to the project in order to convert to permanent financing. We're good stewards. We've already essentially, because of the extensions and because of the delays, we've already deferred the entirety of our developer fee. So we have not made any money off of this project. We have $0 in it. Sorry, I take that back. We've collected about $300,000 in developer fee. That's what we'll collect for the entirety of our capital structuring. So we would have to put additional funds in to convert to construction financing to convert to perm financing to pay off our construction loan. We would do that because we're good stewards. It would cost us money. We would not be able to sustain that over time. So that there is a higher risk of default.
But would you be able to go back and get the TEFRA if you kind of...
Once we convert, the kind of ship has sailed once we convert to permanent financing. And we have to do that because our construction loan is expiring.
So if you had to make up a shortfall jamboree while this was sorted out, you would never be able to go back to tax exempt bonds? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, once the bonds are issued, they're issued, whether they're taxable or tax exempt.
Okay.
So we wouldn't be, and once we issue it with the tax exemption, we can't increase them. We couldn't go back and increase them.
Right, but rather than seeking new financing, today's what, October 21st, when the next meeting's going to be November 4th or whatever it is, I don't know my calendar, 2 weeks from now. Are you telling me that if you had to write a check for a couple of days until we sorted this out, that you're going to lose all your status?
Well, our construction loan we would be in default on our construction loan.
You know, well, your special servicer is not going to foreclose on you 5 days into default. I can guarantee that. Is something else going to happen? You'll be in default. Your special servicer is not coming for your asset. I can assure you of that.
Oh, they come for the tax credits.
Okay, so is that 100% definitive? There's no going back if you're.
Yeah, we've reached the end of our extension.
I mean, I just can't see why you guys were not pounding the tables to say, let's get this agendized, instead of, 5 days before, 9 days before it expires. It's just mind-boggling to me.
So we have been pressing, we thought we had come to terms. We were pressing to get agendized as soon as possible. Staff told us this was the first available date. It worked within our extension. We didn't assume that we did not have a deal. We've completed the project. We've met all of our agreements. We've renegotiated and made concessions after the deal was struck, after the deal was completed, after all of our financing was set. We've gone above and beyond. We didn't imagine that we would be in a position where we knew that the council obviously has the authority, but we thought that we had kind of come to agreements. We've met and exceeded everything that we've said that we would do.
Well, gang, I suggest we maybe go on a little fact-finding, mission. My suggestion would be to continue this, not necessarily to the next city council meeting, because worst-case scenario, if they really are up against an end-of-the-month deadline, perhaps we can do a special meeting if we really needed to in order to make this happen. But I think we need to do a little bit of discovery. Many of us council members, the very first time I ever heard or found out about any of this is when it was posted on the agenda. I think that's the same for many of the other council members that are up here, and it just seems like, because of other people's missteps and their inabilities to keep everything within a 3-year term that was originally given, and then not bringing it up until a couple months after the expiration, and here we are, back up against the wall. We're being forced to put our names on something that really is counter to what we campaigned on and the representative, votes that we received. And so I would just like to take a look at this a little bit more with staff, with the developer. There's already been some suggested restructuring. I'd like to have a say in some of that restructuring and take a look at it. And I have a hard time believing that, entering into a covenant for 99 years saying this will always remain the same way, I'm concerned about locking in something like that and have a hard time believing that private development can't come in and find a way to make that property profitable in such a way sometime in the future to where we actually are collecting property tax and not being a burden on our citizens anymore because our taxpayers are subsidizing this.
And what was the term? They're the secondary loan or the subordinate.
Loans?
Yeah, we're way down the line on that. I've got a
I would
lot of
just,
heartache on this.
Yeah, I would ask my colleagues, I fully appreciate of course, everything you guys have said, but what's the extra time going to do? I mean, they're telling you straight up that, they're tapped. So, unless you just don't believe them, I'm just saying, what would we accomplish?
Well, if we had the ability to call a special meeting next week before the expiring deadline of the construction loan and sit down and, if we were to get, this is facetious, 1 penny more than what they said today when we're tapped isn't truly a statement. I think with your backs up against the wall, your balance sheet allows you to make a little bit of movement, I would imagine. You guys this is a nonprofit. the bottom line is, we're not going to be asking for the moon, but maybe we would like to see, is there not room for a 50 basis points cost per CPI on the $5,000? Is there?
So as I mentioned, this development, because of COVID, because of the delays associated with it, this project has cost Jamboree money. Our board has already provided a bridge loan to get us to this point. So we have a couple $1 million in cash that we've already put into the project. We have deferred nearly the entirety of our developer fee. We've deferred a large portion of our general contractor fee. We've worked on this project diligently for 5 years. We've delivered what we said we were going to do. Our board came out of pocket to bridge that loan. We have absolutely stepped up at every portion of this project to deliver what we agreed with the city that we would deliver. We have delivered what we think is an asset to the community. Yes, it's not exempt. Yes, it is exempt from property taxes, but this is something that's keeping 43 people off the streets and making sure that they stay off the streets and providing them home and care. This project has already cost us millions of dollars. 5 years of our staff time, 5 years of our general contractors' time, and we have collected very, very little out of it. We do not have any money to bring to the table.
But
We've done everything that we can.
You understand that we have breaking points too, and that's what's killing me right now, is all this is just costing. We're not gonna, at some point, we're gonna have to tell our employees, sorry, we can't give you a raise. Sorry, we're going to have to, maybe replace you with somebody not as well because you're going off to make more money out of another city who hasn't reached these kind of deals. And another point too, that's why I say the state should stay the hell out of local government and let us control things a little more. Really a question for you, Trav. Why has this waited until this point? Knowing that our staff knew it, why didn't we do this back in August? So we did have time to hash it out with all of us in a proper discussion and maybe
Yes, staff did reach out to all the council members on this project earlier. We didn't bring it wasn't brought to a council meeting to inform you. And unfortunately, this is where we are at this point today. So I think we're ready to decide to have a meeting next week, decide if you want to make a vote tonight. I think...
well, we'll decide that, but we got to decide whether we're going to, find out the root of how we got here too, though. That's another issue. But Chad, you got anything else?
Just ready to make a motion.
All right.
Is it going to be a substitute motion?
Well,
Yeah, I'm ready to make a substitute motion if that's
haven't
okay.
made any motion
No
yet.
motion's been made yet.
Recommendation. Nobody's made the motion, though. It's a recommendation.
Okay. So, Mayor, if I could make a
Yes.
motion, I'd like to move to continue item 10 to allow additional time for staff, the developer, and council to explore potential restructuring of the agreement terms in a way that better protects Huntington Beach taxpayers and aligns with our current priorities.
Can you put a time frame on that, like next week? If we are going to do that, if I'm going to second that, in all fairness, we have to get to a jumping off point before the proposed deadline of October 31st. So, to be fair to all parties, we should make sure that we can do that. So if you can add
Good point.
that.
So I would revise it to say I move to continue item 10 to allow additional time for staff, the developer, and council to explore potential restructuring of the agreement terms in a way that better protects Huntington Beach taxpayers and aligns with our current priorities. And the meeting should be scheduled no later than October.
Next Tuesday?
Yeah.
Okay. By next Tuesday, which would be
28th.
The 28th.
Chad, just for the public and for the council, so we can't obviously come to collective concurrence with more than 3 of you. So when you say council, it's going to have to be less than a quorum.
I'm just looking for the opportunity for us to be able to meet, 1s, 2s, and 3s with the developers and staff.
I would second that motion. Even if we end up at the same place 1 week from now, I will feel a lot better that at least we had an opportunity. Again, I've said this before, being asked to vote on something has financial benefit or negatives, you know, at the witching hour. It's just, it doesn't set well with me. So I will second that motion, and hopefully we can pass that. We can meet with the developer. Even if we make no headway, we will vote again next week, or vote next week. Second the motion.
All right.
For clarification purposes, to continue item number 10, and I will summarize, to provide additional time for restructuring and to align with current priorities.
Okay. Also, parliamentarian, do we need to reopen and continue the public hearing?
No, you can reopen the public hearing at the next meeting.
We won't have to refile and all that within, we just continue this public
Is there
hearing? going?
notice, Jen?
It's been noticed for this, but within a week, is that enough time?
I thought
Usually
we just, can't we
continue it.
just continue it to a date certain and therefore not have to renotice?
Yeah, we reopen and we continue the public hearing until the 28th.
Certain.
Isn't that the way it goes?
If you'd like to reopen the public hearing and do it that way, you can, but I don't believe it's necessary.
I'm just trying to do it the right way. So if we don't need to open the public hearing, that's fine.
Since it's not going to cause any additional delay, go ahead and reopen the public hearing, and then you can.
All right. Yes.
We'll be able to continue without renoticing it because on our end, it's 10 days. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to reopening it and continue it till the 28th.
Well, there's a motion on the table.
Yeah, but we just did that.
Okay. Going to call the roll. Okay. We just have a summary. Okay. Councilman Twining.
No.
Councilman Kennedy.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem McKeon.
No.
Mayor Burns.
Yes.
Councilwoman Vandermark.
No.
Councilman Gruhl.
I'm in favor of extending the tax exempt status, but if we need another week to discuss this, then I'm a yes on that.
Councilman Williams.
Yes.
So motion passes 4 yes, 3 no, to continue date certain, October 28th.
Okay, item number 11, approved for introduction ordinance number 4342, prohibiting the sale and distribution of nitrous oxide. Staff, please introduce the report.
Good evening, council. I apologize for being back again. We have another ordinance for your consideration. At the October 7th meeting, council members Vandermark, Twining, and Kennedy proposed us to find an ordinance prohibiting the sale and distribution of nitrous oxide within Huntington Beach. Currently, it is widely available. There's no point of sale restrictions for nitrous oxide. It is sold as a culinary use. Making whipped cream is how it's basically sold to the public. Nitrous oxide is very dangerous. There's many short-term effects. You can have nausea, blackouts, impaired motor control, disorientation, and long-term effects. You can have nerve damage, paralysis, and even death. The Huntington Beach Police Department has seen a large increase in nitrous oxide-related arrests since 2023. We had 28 arrests in 2023, and we're on pace for 152 arrests this year, calls of service that involved nitrous oxide. Our neighboring jurisdictions have already done this. They've developed an ordinance to prohibit the sale and distribution. Santa Ana, Costa Mesa, Newport, and the County of Orange have all done this. There currently is a penal code, Section 381 of the Penal Code, and it says
Possession of nitrous oxide for intoxication. The issue is here, you must show possession with the intent to use it illegally. And there's kind of a loophole that I think Councilmember Gruhl pointed out last meeting, where it is being sold as a cooking product. It's actually being marketed to children. They have funny names for it: laughing gas, Knox, Whippets. Flavors are being added to it. It's easily accessible to a lot of people in a lot of different places. And Councilman Gruhl, please correct me if I'm wrong, a normal commercial chef would not buy nitrous oxide from a smoke shop.
Correct.
Okay, just want to make sure I'm accurate on that. This ordinance would prohibit the sale of this by these smoke shops, but there are several exceptions to it. Commercial use for food preparation would be an exception. Use in a medical or a dentistry setting would be an exception. Use to improve the performance of a vehicle, there is an exception for that, and also if it is provided by a pharmacist. What we are targeting is the smoke shops who sell these little cans, these little whippets of nitrous oxide to juveniles who then use it and have lots of problems in their life. They huff it and have issues. And I personally have seen people under the influence of it. It's very dangerous. Several years ago, we had a young lady huff something and then fall into the little lake right across the street here and pass away. So it is very, very dangerous. So staff came up with the ordinance to do this, and our recommended action is you move this ordinance for a second reading at the November 4th, 2025 council meeting. Are there any questions?
Are there size, so the commercial people can still buy it, whether it be wherever they buy it? Can they, I don't want to make it illegal for them to be able to buy, but I don't know the quantity they buy it at a time. Do they buy it, 2 gallon, 5 gallon at a time? Because I hate to see, unless there's a restriction like that, I'm sure it's like 2 ounce bottles of it at the smoke shops and gas stations.
Sell little teeny canisters of it. At a commercial place, you would buy much larger canisters.
And that's what I mean, where it's permitted by commercial use and size purchase and illegal on the smaller version.
To sell it, with this ordinance, to sell it commercially, you would have to be a licensed person who would sell things to a restaurant or such. You couldn't, not the smoke shops, not the head shops, not places like that.
And this has been around, God, I remember when, it's been around forever.
That is correct. There's been different names for it. It's gone up and down in popularity. We have seen a surge in the last 5 years.
Yeah, it's popular.
I would say. I mean, back when you were a police officer in Long Beach, I'm sure there were people that were huffing different things.
Oh, the raves. I don't know, do they still have raves these days? I mean, when they had raves, it was all over the place. I mean, it was crazy.
And the way we find it is
it's
in
long
balloons.
overdue to be illegal, is what I'm saying.
We find it in balloons. You would fill a balloon full of the nitrous oxide, and then you would huff it. And it's just, for some reason, it is very popular right now, and is very available to almost everybody in the city.
So if somebody that was not licensed in the food were in possession of one of these commercial-size canisters, would that be subjected quantity for distribution? Well, they'd equip, I mean, if they had a few bags of balloons next to it, I mean, you got your PC for it.
Yeah, our Special Investigations Bureau would actually take the lead on this. We plan on, much like we did with Kratom, we'll send a letter to all the distributors in Huntington Beach, letting them know there's a new ordinance, and then we will do undercover operations to see if people still sell it.
Would an offense be a misdemeanor first time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it would be a city ordinance, so it would be a misdemeanor.
I'll move the recommended action.
I'll second, and thank you for working so quickly to get this done.
Appreciate that.
Anybody else? Call the roll, please.
Councilman Twining?
Yes.
Councilman Kennedy?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem McKeon?
Yes.
Mayor Burns?
Aye.
Councilwoman Vandermark?
Yes.
Councilman Gruhl?
Yes.
Councilman Williams?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you.
All right, move on to council member items, number 12.
Pat Burns?
Yeah.
Mayor Burns, I have to read the ordinance.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We always skip that. I'd like to read the ordinance title for the record. Ordinance number 4342, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Huntington Beach, adding a new chapter 9.94 entitled Prohibition on Sale or Distribution of Nitrous Oxide to the Title IX of the Huntington Beach Municipal Code to establish regulations prohibiting the unlawful sale or distribution of nitrous oxide in the city.
All right, thank you. Okay, council member items number 12, submitted by myself and Councilman Butch Twining, invitation to Orange County Register of Voters to present at a Huntington Beach City Council meeting. Butch, you want to introduce this one?
Probably there's not a lot of people left here, but when we talked about when we had United First here a couple weeks ago, we got a slew of emails and phone calls about balancing the presentation and inviting Bob Page from Orange County Registrar of Voters. It would have been nice to get him in here before the elections, but that's just not going to work. He's probably very busy right now. So I took the phone calls and all the emails to heart and asked Mayor Burns if he wanted to co-sponsor an item with me and instruct our staff to invite Mr. Page to a future meeting here, and also look forward to going and taking a tour of the Orange County Registrar of Voters office with whatever other council members want to go. I don't think I'm going to go with Protect HB. I appreciate their invitation, but I think I'll go on my own. Thank you very much. That's it.
Thank you. You want to make a motion?
Yeah, I make a motion to approve item number 12. I mean, actually, item 25830, item number 12, to invite Bob Page, the ROV.
All right, I'll second. Anybody? All right. Call the roll, please.
Councilman Twining?
Yes.
Councilman Kennedy?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem McKeon?
Yes.
Mayor Burns?
Aye.
Councilwoman Vandermark?
Yes.
Councilman Gruhl?
Yes, and also Butch, I'll go over there with you, and I would love to go with Protect HB as well.
Councilman Williams?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
All right. Would any council member like to add any new business to the next agenda?
Do we have a meeting next Tuesday?
We do. Next regularly scheduled meeting of the Huntington Beach City Council Public Financing Authority is Tuesday, November 4th, 2025, here at the Civic Center. But the special meeting will be October 28th at what? Anybody got a time request? 4. Please. Okey doke. And with that, I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Second.
Adjourn.